Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about one of the most important metrics for every business, customer lifetime value or CLV. I will explain what CLV actually means, why it's matter, and then we will build this interactive dashboard in Power BI step by step from understanding the concept to calculating and visualization it. So this is the final dashboard that we will be building. On the top, we can see the summary numbers like total customers, total transactions, average purchase value, and average purchase frequency. So all these metrics will be used to calculate the final customer lifetime value. And also, I've also calculated CLV by customer as well to get more insights. So from this, we can immediately see which customers are profitable and which are costing more than they bring in, right? So for example, if a customer CLV is negative after acquisition cost, that means we are actually losing money on them. So that's why it's so important to analyze CLV at a customer level as well, not also overall. So I've done both as well to firstly give a overall picture and then by customers as well. So let me move on to overview tab to give you a little idea about CLV, what it actually is. So CLV represents the total revenue a business can expect from a single customer over the entire relationship. And it tells how valuable each customer truly is, not just based on one purchase, but across their entire journey with the business, right? So here's why it's important. It helps decide how much to spend to acquire new customers. It also measures marketing ROI, basically whether our campaigns are profitable or not. It also identifies high value customers that we should retain and nurture, right? And it also helps forecast long term business growth, right? So, in short, CLV connects marketing, sales, and finance. It's the bridge between customer behavior and profitability. And this is the simple formula that is being used to calculate customer lifetime value. And these are the definition of each matrix that I've written. And again, we will be step by step building this CLV dashboard. So I will show you again in that point of the video as well. But we will be calculating the total customers, total number of transactions, total revenue, and then the average purchase value. For that, we will be dividing the total revenue by total transactions to get the average purchase value, right? And similarly, we will be dividing total transactions by customer to get purchase frequency average and then the customer lifetime, like the customer's last purchase date and the customer's first purchase date to see how much it's been a customer with us, and then the gross margin and customer acquisition cost. So yeah, this is the dashboard that we'll be building. Let me jump on to the starter Power BI file where we'll be performing all of these calculations and doing all the analysis. So this is the uh, like simple PBX file, and this is the data that I imported here. It's a simple data set that we've been using a lot of time. So I will be using this to perform customer lifetime value. So let me first do is let me create a new table where I will be adding all the layers you can say to make all the things categorized and organized. So this table, I will be just adding all the measures that I need here. And other than that, as I mentioned a bit earlier, that we will be needing the customer's first purchase date and the last purchase date. But here we only have the invoice date of each customer. So let's quickly create a new column to calculate firstly the customer's first purchase date and then the last purchase date. So let me say that first invoice date of each customer. For this, we can use the calculate function. And here, I will be first using the minimum to get the minimum of invoice date, right? And the filter that I will be applying is all except to remove all the filters, but customer ID, right? So I will be first providing the table and then I want to calculate that by customer ID. That's why I added that here. So this is how it will give me the first invoice date of each customer. I can just format that into a short date. So it feels a bit better here. So let me filter any customer to see if it actually calculated correctly or not. So this is the customer, and let me sort it in an ascending order so we can say his minimum date. It is 6 June 2011. So yeah, it's actually calculated correctly. And let me remove all the filters. And in the same way, we will be calculating the last invoice date. So for this, I will just say last invoice date, and here I will be just using the maximum to get the maximum invoice date of a customer. So once I have minimum and maximum invoice date, I can just use the difference to calculate the number of days you can say the customer has been with us. So let me create one another column and I can say it like customer lifespan, right? I can say it will be in days, date, diff. Here I will be first providing the last invoice date because that will be greater than the first date. And then I will be providing the first date and I will be adding unit as day. So this is how I will get the number of days between customer first and last purchase date. And we can even see negative value here. I think we will have to first provide the first date as an argument. First, it's by default doing that. Okay, so I will just add first and last purchase date, this one. Okay, so we will be having first purchase date and then the last purchase date, right? Let me add this here as well. Okay, what's the issue? Okay, it's good now. Perfect. So this is how I will be getting the number of days between customer last and first purchase date. And I can convert that into year because by default, CLV formula accepts years, but definitely you can do that by day or month if you have a data only by year, we can say. So, but in my case, let's keep it standard and calculate by number of year. So I can say like customer lifespan, and here I will be calculating that by years. So what I would need to do is I would just need to divide customer lifetime days by the 365. Let me add the divide function, and here I will be dividing it by 365 to get the number of days in years, and I can just round it off to two values, right? So this is how I will get that. And let me just give you a little twist here. We can use like the year here, but the thing is it will round off all the data. I don't want to round off the data because otherwise, there will be no meaning into it once we will be calculating the average. So this is why I actually firstly used day and then simply divided that. So I could get the more granular data to have the correct averages, right? So this is how I just get the customer lifespan in years. And let me move on to this table. And here we will be calculating some other metrics that we need here. So first of all, we need the total number of customers that we have. So I can create a measure like where I can just do a distinct count of customer IDs. This is how I will just get the total number of customers. And after that, I can just use the total transactions, right? To see the number of transactions that I had in my data set, I can use the invoice number because all of these things are getting repeated in my data set because of the store code. So I got total customers, I got total transactions, I can even calculate the total revenue, right? So let me calculate the total revenue. I would just do a sum of revenue. Let me actually add a formula here that I showed you earlier, so we can, better follow that. This is the formula, and we will be just filling that out. So let me copy from the previous PBX file and just add it here. So this is the one that we'll be building. So far we just calculated the customer lifespan. We will be doing average, but for the moment we are just building some basic measures that we need to calculate averages. So that's what we are doing so far. We have calculated total customers, total transactions, total revenue. Now it's time to jump on to average purchase value. So let's calculate that. And for this, we would just be dividing the total revenue by the total transaction, right? So this is how we will get the average purchase value. Since it's a purchase value, it would be in a dollar sign because we are just checking on average how much, you know, amount or revenue we are getting per transactions. This is what this matrix means, right? And I can also change that into dollar to be consistent into that. Let me just round it off to zero. I don't like very granular numbers, uh, more specifically in this data set. So we got average purchase value and then we can calculate the average purchase frequency. So for this, let me calculate average purchase frequency. So this is what I have. I would just do a divide and then I would divide the total transactions by the total number of customers to see on average how many transactions a single customer is doing. So this is what this single matrix is telling us. And then we also need to calculate the average customer lifespan in years, right? So let me just do that quickly. So we will be just doing the average of the column that we have created. Let me search years. So this is what we will just doing the average to get a simple average, like how on average, what is the lifespan of our customer in a year. We can even do by day as well, since we have the data day, just to provide some more information. If somebody likes to look at on a daily basis, we can just provide that because we have the data available. Why don't we just provide that? So this is how, we will get the average lifespan by days. We have calculated these metrics so far. Now we need to calculate these metrics as well. So we also need to calculate the gross margin and customer acquisition cost. For this data, I'm just assuming these numbers, but obviously when you will be performing that real time on your company's data set, you can just ask the numbers from the other departments who know these numbers. So for example, we can just communicate to get what is the actual gross margin on our products, on our sales. We can just assume that, get that, but for now, I'm just assuming it as a 60%. I know it can be a lot, but let's just assume that. Other than that, we also have a customer acquisition cost, how much we are spending to acquire a single customer. That is something that you can also get from your marketing team as well. And you can even estimate from the ads like ad meta ads or whatever ads that you are performing. So here I'm also assuming it as a $300 to acquire a single customer. So let me first assume the gross margin. So let's assume it as 60%, right? So I will just add the hard code value of 60%. I can just convert that into a percentage as well to look good. And other than that, I will also be assuming the customer acquisition cost. Customer acquisition cost. That is that. So I'm assuming it as a $300 as well. Okay. So this is how we have get all the metrics that we need. So, okay, uh, that's great. And we finally just need to calculate customer lifetime value. For this, we just need to do some multiplication and then the subtraction. So that is my final matrix, customer lifetime value, or in short, CLV. Here, firstly, we will multiply average purchase value by gross margin. You can say it doesn't matter, it's just multiplication. The order can be uh, variant in terms of like what we can do. So I will multiply by frequency as well, and then the lifespan. I will use year here to be consistent, and then I will subtract all the value from the customer acquisition cost. This is the data that we got, like the amount we got, and this is the amount that we actually spent on the customer. So after that, we will just get the, final, the amount or the final money that the customer is giving to us, right? So if I have to just provide you the overall number, so this would be the overall number based on the data set. We have overall number of 509. So on average, you can say on average in the entire data set, a customer is giving us $500 when we are spending, $300 onto a customer. So let me just convert that into currency as well. So that was a calculation, and now it's time to build some dashboard thing. So what I can do is I can just, insert text, and I can say something like customer lifetime value, right? So I can just change that into this. I can even bold that. And let me just copy the color from here to be consistent about that. So this is the color that I'm using. Okay. So I can just add that here. Let me also increase the size a little bit. Okay. So we are just building customer dashboard, and in the same way we can just add the navigation button like page navigator. So this is the page navigator we have, right? And I can change that into a overview tab, right? And I will be providing this PDX file in the description or even in the comment. So you can always download that and copy and paste all the things. But not to waste any time, let me just for copy the tab or the button navigator that I showed you previously. So we can just do that. But obviously you can change the color based on your company's logo and all the thing. So this would be the you can say the page navigator. And then, uh, other than that, let me just go over to analytics, or you can say analysis tab. You can define whatever sounds good to us. So here I would just be adding the, let me just copy and paste all this thing. So just a second, I'm just copying that from the other PBX file. So we will be adding these all these matrix here. So here I just use the card here where we'll be adding the all the metrics that we have calculated. So for example, we first need to give the total customers. We can just provide that, and then the total transactions. These are the number of transactions that we had in our data set. And then we can also provide the total revenue, right? So this would be the revenue. And then we can also provide the mm, average lifespan in days as well, right? So, and then I can provide that in here as well. So we can just, look at all the data in a single tab. And in the same way, we can provide the other metrics like average purchase value. This is the average purchase value that we have calculated. And then we will be providing the average purchase frequency. And then we also need to add the gross margin that we have assumed, right? So we will have a clear picture about that. After that, we also need to mention acquisition cost that we have estimated. And finally, we just need to add the customer lifetime value, right? So let me just format all of this so that it looks a bit good. Okay. So let me just quickly do that. So this is how, we will get the overall numbers like the how much revenue we had, how much average purchase value or the lifespan, and then finally the CLV number. And after that, we can also provide the table where we'll be just giving the numbers by each customer, and that will obviously tell a better picture if any specific customer is profitable to us or not, right? So let me just copy all of this from the other PBX file that is ready. And here I will be just adding all these matrices again that we have calculated. So you will have a clear idea about building that. portfolio project as a dashboard. So I just added customer ID. After that, I would be adding the, let's say, how much revenue, or sorry, we can just add the total number of transactions that this customer had, and then the total revenue he gave us. And then we can also add something like average purchase, or let's say do this thing, right? Let me just round it off to zero, right? Because it doesn't make sense to have, as a point in days. Okay, so after that, I will be adding the average purchase value, and then the average purchase frequency. We don't need to add CAC or margin because that is same in the data set for, especially in my case. So this is how, we will be adding all of these metrics. Let me just squeeze that. So towards scrollable thing. So yeah, this is how we can see the customer lifetime value by customer. Like this is the customer which is like causing a loss of 300, right? He just came here and then he actually did a only one transaction of 70, uh, or you can say 70 $77 transaction, right? And then we can say some other customers like 400 $4,000 customer, and then 25,000 $2,500 customer. So this is how we can check the CLV by each customers. We have some negative values here and then some positive values here, right? So yeah, this is how we will be performing this customer lifetime value on Power BI. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions. Feel free to drop a comment into that. So yeah, by the end of this video, sort of you can say like you have got a little idea about how to perform customer lifetime value, why it's important for all of this. So yeah, thank you. Bye bye. See you in the next one.